Good evening, everybody. We're back. It's been a month over that, but we're back. The Instagram Collectors Roundtable. It is episode 15. I'm done dog sitting, house sitting, coaching afar, everything else. I am sick, but I'm here. So your host, Matt, is here, but I've got three dudes who recently went to the Fall Expo. Still can't believe it's called that because it's in, basically winter time. But Kelvin's come back to hang out and share his stories. Kelvin, hello.
Hello, hello.
Good to see you, dude. Alex has made it, believe it or not. Here he is.
Yay! Thanks for
Woo!
having me again.
Yep. And of course, Mitch, not Gropeman, but Grotman cards, of course. Fellas, welcome. Awesome that you guys not only got to go to the expo, but you all got a chance to meet up, which even though it took way longer than it probably should have going through the chat thread because you guys couldn't find each other half the time. It was really cool that, part of the roundtable crew got to hang out and meet up. So first of all, I want to know, Kelvin, you got to meet up with Mitch, right?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me about that. How was it?
He's just as advertised.
Yeah.
What you see is what you get.
I think I've told you that too, Mitch. Yeah. Like there's no facade. Like you are who you are, and I appreciate that because you're. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I mean, what did you guys get a chance to kind of walk around and look at some stuff together too?
Yeah. I saw him the Friday, Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, 2 days.
Yeah.
Awesome. And how long did it really? That first day, it was like, Kelvin, where are you at? Are you in line? And I get two different pictures in the text thread. It's like way apart, and then it's like, well, they'll find each other inside. And then there was a message from Kelvin like, hey, or Mitch is like, I'm right here. Where are you? And so you guys are like in different aisles, right? But literally right in the same area, just the wrong aisle. Is that what happened?
Yeah, pretty much. I like kept messaging him. We just weren't checking our phones at the right time. And then he said he was like next to a hallway entrance. It was a huge show. Like if you're someone that goes to a lot of card shows, besides the national, like this probably has to be the biggest one. Mm-hmm. But so I just kept trying to find him, but eventually we met up. I actually saw him in line going into the show, but he was like too far away, and I didn't want to be that guy that was like, Kelvin, hey. So like we met up, and he actually gave me a card. Well, I gave Kelvin 3 cards that I meant to give him, and then he found an Andrew Cogliano 0708 limited logos, which happens to be a short print. In like it was like a $20 bin, like just. Wow. Mm-hmm. So he was very generous to give that card to me, and then we walked around together, went through some boxes. I think he saw me buy some cards. I think maybe I
was there for a couple of the deals.
Yeah. So I bought too many cards.
And it's always fun. I don't know what you think too, Alex, but like when you actually meet up with your buddies that you also collect cards with, like seeing people when they're doing deals and talking with sellers and things like that. It's kind of cool to see how these people work, in person as opposed to, behind the scenes. We're all a little bit different in the ways that we negotiate. Some of us are a bit straight to the point. Some of us are a little more like, I've been collecting them forever. Look at this web page I made. Like there's just different avenues to kind of convince people or get them to maybe side with your prices or whatever. But Kelvin, I kind of feel like Mitch is a pretty like straight to the point guy when it comes to his negotiations. Am I right with that?
Yeah. I'm pretty much the same way too. I'm just straight to the point. We have like a number in our head, and then we're like maybe a few dollars off here and there, but
yeah.
Well, that's good. That's awesome that you guys had a chance to meet up. And then after Kelvin took off, Alex, you rolled in for the second half, and you guys met up as well, right?
Yeah, I met Mitch. It was good because like I had just gotten there, like as Mitch can attest to, and Kelvin, before the expo was just in one hall, and now it's like a hallway, and another hall. Yeah. So I had just kind of started, and I got there a little bit late. So me and Mitch were talking for probably like 45 minutes or like half an hour, 45 minutes. But I felt bad because I had a buddy there that was with me, and he was kind of just like he was interjecting in the conversation, But like, we're talking about cards. Like Mitch is like, yeah, the limited logos from 0506, and then like signature patches from, and then just like all these like specific things. And my buddy who like barely collects is just like, okay, yeah, He has like probably no clue what we're talking about.
I felt like he was part of the conversation.
He was, but yeah, if it was just me and Mitch and we had like all day, it would have been some trouble probably.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I didn't get to meet Kelvin unfortunately, but
yeah, we just miss each other by a day.
Yeah,
Spring Expo.
We all have. Yeah, the next one. We got lots of time to plan. I've got my passport papers I'm filling out. Like it's gonna happen for sure.
Perfect.
So I can't wait for that. So I mean, what was overall? I mean, before we get into the details, would you say that all three of you, you kind of set some goals, realistic goals of what you were hoping to find while you were there? And I mean, Mitch, I think, sorry to burst everyone's bubble here, but I think he surpassed his goals. But do you feel like you all feel fulfilled after coming back from going there and meeting each other and all that stuff?
It's funny you say that, because if you asked me, I would say I didn't meet my goals at all, because I like going into it, I'm like, if I can get one card I need for either of the two sets I'm like really trying to complete, then I'll be happy. And I literally I must have gone up to every single dealer in the entire expo and showed them pictures. First, I would show them an 0607 signature patch. I would say, do you have any of these? And then I would show them an 0405 ultimate patch auto. I said, any of these? Some guys had like one or two, but I couldn't find a single card that I needed from those sets. So maybe in some subliminal way, all the pickups I had were just to make up for the fact that I couldn't actually get the cards that I was looking for. But obviously, I had an amazing time. It was probably my favorite show that I've ever been to. So I'm very happy I got to go. Obviously, very happy I got to meet Kelvin and Alex. They're both awesome people in person. I met so many people that I've met through Instagram. I mean, honestly, I probably met like 50 or 60 people that I follow on Instagram at the expo, which is extremely overwhelming. But also just like amazing to kind of like get that extra layer to that connection and relationship. So that meant a lot to me, on top of all the amazing cards I was able to grab.
Yeah, I went in and I wasn't as specific as Mitch. Like I didn't say, okay, I want to get these specific cards. I had a general understanding, and I did end up getting. I guess I did kind of get what I was looking for. Like I wanted to maybe find like a nice Ovechkin or a Crosby like rarer rookie. Like obviously I can't afford the stuff from the Cup and stuff like that, but I did find one. But again, we might talk about this later in the episode. But a lot of the prices on like the cards I really liked were just like way too high. So I did the best that I could within my budget, I should say.
Right. We'll get to that. That's going to be our next little topic, is like observations and whatnot. But yeah, that's good that you brought that up. And then Kelvin, you had a unique experience too, because you had the chance to meet up again with your Brodeur, the Brodeur group. I don't know what else to call them, the Posse. We were talking a couple of days ago. I think it's so cool that not only do you all get along well in the first place, but you're willing to like kind of say who wants what the most within this group of guys, and somehow they all like get what they want. But you had the chance to meet up with a few people, right, from that group?
Yeah. There's two of them, super cool cardboard, and who's forget his name? That card collection. His name's Trevor, but I always forget his handle. Yeah. And yeah, we met up like Friday afternoon, and we brought most of our collection too, and then we're just like in awe looking at each other's collections, and then we ended up doing like a 3-way trade to make like a lot of things work. And it was so interesting because we're all like collecting. Obviously, we collect the same players, but like different aspects. Like one's into like All-Star game stuff and Team Canada stuff. I'm into the shiny stuff, and then someone else is into like everything else. So it was really cool, and then worked out a big trade for, I guess, my only goal for the expo. So I'll show that one off later.
Yeah. Good. No, that's awesome too. It would have been kind of cool. You know how you guys see like when in the NBA when there's like a 3-way trade or MLB, you like see who gets what. Would be kind of cool to see the whole picture. Like this went here, this went here, this went to this guy, and then went to here. Like it would have been really neat to see how that all works. But great. Well, let's talk about observations first of all, because a lot of us wanted to be there, but we were there in spirit, not really able to make it for obvious reasons. But what were some of the first things that you noticed going on? Obviously, we know it's a big show, right? It's the biggest is that the biggest expo so far of all time?
I think so,
yeah, in terms of like the venue size, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the venue's massive. I mean, and that in itself presents a challenge for all three of you who are not there. I mean, Mitch, you were there the longest of all three of them. You were there the longest. And even then, I mean, I know you said you went to every dealer, but it has to be a little bit of you that's like, man, it would have been nice to have a little more time to maybe come back and double check on something or whatever, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, I mean, you got the size, but then like, what were you all noticing first take, going there, you're looking at some of the very first 20, 30 tables. What stood out to you?
So I know like coming from me, this was like on brand for me to say because I'm a known hater of Young Gun cards, but I mean, honestly, like not every table, but
a good
almost every
70% of tables had either a Matthews or a Marner or McDavid Young Gun, usually graded, in their display case. Yeah. And like my thinking is, like, first of all, like if you see this exact same card in every display case, to me that would be like a huge turnoff as a collector. Like knowing that you're getting a card that everyone has. Mm-hmm. Like there's zero chase. You can get this card every single day. You can buy a different copy of it every single day. Yeah. And there's literally tens of thousands of these cards. And the prices on them are, to me, like just unbelievable. So seeing all these Young Guns in these cases, to me, it like really, even though I wasn't alive, I have like this hyper awareness of what happened in the early 90s with like those Eric Lindros and Pavel Bure rookie cards. Mm-hmm. And that really, really seems, it has to be inevitable that these cards crash because there's too many of them for any of them to be 4-figure cards. They are, I mean, you hear the stories about like people paying, I can't believe I paid $100 for this Eric Lindros rookie card. And maybe, I mean, there's definitely more of those. Maybe there's 100,000 Eric Lindros upper deck rookies, but there's at least 30 or 40,000 of these, like maybe not Ovechkin, but like Connor McDavid, they printed so much of.
Once EPAC started, like, wasn't that McDavid's year, I think?
Yeah,
because I've compared the numbers, like even if you just use like Beckett, like I know we talk about grading, we don't really care, but if you use like literally just as a baseline Beckett's grading, like my buddy, he likes Young Guns. Like again, everyone has a preference.
Right.
So I've like broken down the numbers like every year, like the top guy, and the contrast between like pre-lockout or even like those guys, and then even pre-EPAC is like crazy difference. I don't have the numbers with me, but say there's like 2,000 OV 9.5s, like Matthews is like like 10,000 or 8,000 or something like that. Like it's crazy. It's nuts.
Yeah, it's like a, what do they say, like old double-edged sword or whatever. Like it's so tough because you got kids that are interested in the hobby still, and the most accessible card of any of their favorite players is a Young Guns. That's just, it is. Or even more so than like an MVP rookie, for instance. I mean, it's really strange that we've gone to that way because, like, obviously with Fleury, I see a Young Guns once or twice a week, maybe. So there were so many less back then. But yeah, no, I hear you. The few hockey tables that I saw at the one card show I went to this summer, everyone had Young Guns on. I was like, oh, geez, okay.
Yeah.
But what else? I mean, Kelvin, you also were there on day one. What else were you noticing as soon as you walked in? First couple hours at the show.
Yeah, a lot of Young Guns, a lot of Future Watch autos, a lot of Tim's cards. I know that, but there's always a large group of people. Like you always over here, like, you guys have any Tim's cards or like certain Young Guns? There's like a large. I mean, it's very popular.
Yeah.
But people always they want to finish their Tim Horton set. They want to. A lot of people always try to go for like the Series 1, like base set, right, including Young Guns. There was last time I felt like there was more hockey dominant than this time.
Oh, really?
This time I think there's a little more variety. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's soccer tables, basketball, football. I'm always surprised there's not a lot of baseball at this show, because with the Blue Jays and stuff. But a little more variety. But I mean, being a hockey collector, I don't mind it being hockey dominant, of course.
Yeah. I think it's kind of expected, though, right?
Yeah.
Like that's why I want to go, because I know it's going to be hockey dominated. So.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. There's also a lot of people from out of town, like from I'll take over here. People from like New York, Philly, like Kansas City, like all the way. I'm like, as I heard over, like, oh yeah, we're not even hockey collectors. I'm like, oh, that's interesting choice of show to go to.
Yeah.
So this is like all hockey.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Like variety of people is always a good thing. Now, Alex, you came in on the back half of the show, where I feel like the second half of any, like especially the national, I was seeing people were willing to let certain things go for a little bit cheaper. You kind of price them up high, and then like, all right, this hasn't sold, hasn't moved, I haven't really moved much inventory. Now maybe I'm willing to listen to some offers. Did you feel like, things were better at that time, you think, than it was for people earlier? Or do you think it was more,
I think it more depended. Again, I don't know the first couple of days. Like I can't compare it to that, but for the most part, like say there was a card I really wanted, like not like $100 card, and I'm like, oh, I don't really want it, but like a card that I actually wanted.
Yeah.
And I would, work with the seller. I bought like every single one that I wanted. Like the dealers were willing to work with me. There was one card that I felt the dealer, he had it way overpriced, and then I sent him my number, and then he's like, he literally told me, he's like, oh, what did he say? It was like an offensive offer or whatever. And I was like, cool, man. I literally said, like, I respect that, whatever, but it is what it is. Sorry?
No, I was just clearing my throat. Sorry, I'm going to be doing that a lot.
I was like, what?
Excuse me.
But yeah, like, I feel like I was able to work with all the dealers. My main takeaway, not the initial takeaway, was when I used to go to the expo, you could park, like, literally you're outside of that hall 5. That's where the main thing is. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And this time, I literally had to park, like, a 10-minute walk, and it literally blew my mind.
Wow.
The second day I actually got to park pretty close, but that was my first takeaway. I was like perplexed by the parking. I was so confused.
Well, let's dive into this topic here, because it's coming up more and more, and even I think you guys.
There's like a squeaking background noise. Do you guys hear that?
I do. I hope that's not me.
That's not on my end.
Calvin, can you mute yourself? Maybe it's you.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely Calvin.
Is it your mic, you think, Calvin?
Yeah. Anyway. Is it my mic?
You guys
I hear it.
Yeah, it's like a feedback thing, yeah.
Yeah, I
don't know.
Come on, Calvin, this is a professional broadcast.
Let's keep rolling. All right. Yeah, no, we're getting paid big money to do this. I've been talking to different people, especially people who reach out. Yeah, I can't hear it now, Kelvin.
Yeah, that's good.
Perfect.
Yeah, it was the wrong mic. It picked up the wrong mic. It like switched to the webcam one.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna redo my answer. No.
Yeah. People will send. Lately too. I've been getting a lot of messages like, "Hey, you want to buy this Flurry card?" I'm like, "Okay," and then I'm like, "Well, yeah, sure. What's the price?" I send prices. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, wow, that's really high."
Yeah.
Again, I mean, it should be general knowledge, I think, for most of us. The market has created a new. it had a huge spike and then it's come down for the most part, and it's at its usual place where it would be if it was continuing its upward slow trend, right, since 2020. But were you feeling like a lot of the dealers were still stuck in like the COVID spike prices in general? Most of you see that?
Well, I think on the sticker price, but I think in my experience, they were very willing to go to comps for the most part. There weren't, too many. Like, even like I know a lot of dealers, they'll say that, oh, I hate comps, but a lot of, even though, yeah, but in my experience, like a lot of dealers, they would ask me like, what's the comp? And then I would show them, and they'd be like, okay. And then they usually would do a little bit less. That was my experience. So there were obviously some guys who just price things like lunatics. I like just throw a dartboard at it, and that's they're allowed to do that. But I thought for the most part, obviously, like I picked up a lot of cards, and I only feel like I overpaid on one of them.
Yeah.
And then some cards, as you guys know, I got like crazy deals on.
Yeah. It evens out, right? Like I've felt that way every time when you guys have deals with people or whatever. I feel like it evens out all the time. You get one or two really good steals, and then you get one that you're like, well, I got a steal on this, so I'm going to go ahead and splurge on this one, make sure I get it. So,
yeah.
Okay. And, Kelvin, Alex, same thing. Did you have a few like, holy moly, like looking at prices, but then also, right, you probably found some where you're like, it can't be this cheap, right? Like, looking around like, is this should I say anything about this, right?
I would say, like, honestly, for me, I think like my big cards, it's when I took out like a couple cards to show and ended up being 5, so perfect top 5. I feel like I paid like pretty, like maybe just a below comp, I guess, maybe on a couple of them. But my main one, I definitely felt that where I like, because I went through the show, all these Ovechkin, Crosby. Like, again, I'm not looking at the cup stuff. I'm looking at like MVP, like scripts, gold scripts out of 100. It's like some cards maybe in the 4 to like 600 range. Like but everything was over 1,000, like sticker price. So all that stuff was expensive. But yeah, the one that I did find, I looked at the sticker and I'm like, oh, that's it. And so I was able to like work with the seller and I got it for a really good price. But yeah, I saw a lot of that. Like the high end stuff was like priced way too high, and then like everything else is kind of reasonable. Again, that's my perspective.
Right. Kelvin, how about you on the Brodeur front? Did you feel like things were about where they should have been, or was it everything kind of a bit?
Actually, for a large majority of them, it was actually really fair.
Good.
Even the sticker price was like a solid price, so like you can talk them down and then it'll be below comps. But like you get like a ton of his autos, a bunch of autos there were like 120 to 150 range, which is well par for the course. But of course you can talk them down and bundle and stuff. So for his stuff, for the most part, yeah, very very reasonable.
That's always nice. Who was it? I think, was it Kelvin or Mitch that found that one dealer that had a whole like half showcase of Marc-Andre? It was like one whole left side was just.
Oh yeah, I said that.
I think I know who that is. It's like DC, not DC Sports, but it's something sports like on eBay. Anyway, I recognize a lot of the cards. Can I just ask you guys if we all set up a table, like let's say we did a combined table, right? Because I don't know if any one of us had, maybe Alex has enough inventory to fill a whole table, but
I don't. I thought about that and I was like, I don't think I have enough. Like a lot of good stuff, you know what I mean?
Right. Well, talk to me real quick. Just your theories. If you were selling, would you sticker price that high in order for people to talk you down? Like, are there enough suckers out there? No offense if anybody buys at sticker price, but are there enough suckers out there that just come right up and like, yep, I'll take it to make it worth your while? Like, I feel like it would turn more people away than it would engage in at least a conversation about buying the card. Like, what are your guys' thoughts on that?
So my philosophy would probably be like, because I think that most people go into the mindset that they're not going to pay the full sticker price.
Yeah.
Probably I would sticker it maybe at like 10% above comps. And then try to get 10% below comps is probably how I would do it. So I think that's pretty reasonable. like not enough to actually turn people away, but enough where that that people are going to offer below your sticker price, and you don't want to be firm on the sticker price, but you don't want to take 60% comps either.
Right. Exactly. What about Alex? Must have a visitor right now, so I'll go to Kelvin. Kelvin, how about you, dude? I mean, are you in that same philosophy? Like, you kind of understand, other than like the people that are really high, do you kind of understand that philosophy of being above comps?
Oh yeah. Because I don't think, as Mitch said, I don't think anyone actually pays full sticker unless it's like a stupid price that you'll just get it right away.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I feel like it just gives you room for negotiation, because obviously everyone goes there, you barter, you bundle, maybe partial trade, partial cash.
Yeah.
There's a lot you can work with that number. So I don't think there's an issue unless you're like, if it's like double like what it's supposed to go for, or like something dumb like that, then I don't think anyone would go near that.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I was plugging my charger because I thought my computer was gonna die. If I was
smirk on his face, I saw something was about to happen.
Well, it's funny because I texted my wife. I'm like, "Can you bring the charger?" And then she dropped it here, and then I'm kind of like, I'm not downstairs where I usually am, and she looked at me and she's like, "Do you want me to plug it in?" I'm like, "Yes." So she like literally went under here. And, like, plugged it.
It would have been funny if it would have like hit you in the face. That would
I
have made
know.
it a good moment.
To answer, I think your original question, because I kind of missed a little bit of that, was if I was setting up my own booth, I think I would. It depends what cards I have on the table. I think I would price it higher than maybe what it usually goes for, because I have that same philosophy for like eBay or Facebook Marketplace. People are almost always going to send offers. So at least you give yourself that little buffer. Like say it's $40 card and someone's going to go, "Hey, can you do 30? Can you do 25? I'll go higher." You know what I mean? I'll go like 60 or something. And then like we'll kind of meet at that 40 or whatever. But I think like a lot of people who I said had those like high sticker prices, those were on cards that they probably just didn't want to move in like this current market.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of why they did it. And like what you mentioned, Matt, like it does kind of deter some people, because like I saw a couple sticker prices where I'm like, okay, this guy isn't gonna take my $500 offer if he has like $1,000 sticker price, right?
Yeah.
So I guess it could go that way, like he can kind of screw you in some sales, but I guess it depends on the card, depends on the person, like I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's definitely some dealers, and I think this is a legitimate strategy where they do put out cards they don't actually want to sell because
100%.
it'll attract people to their table.
Yeah.
Like those like super high end 1 of 1 whatever, like those, like they're gonna catch your attention, and then now you're looking at that card, you're gonna look at the rest of the showcase. So I don't hate that strategy, even though it's annoying to see a sticker price that's really high. If the rest of the cards are not really high, then that's a good way to get a sale, I think.
Yeah, definitely saw that at the National. I remember I rolled up on a table and like it was the most spectacular King Griffey Jr. like 90s modern patch autos. I was like, whoa, and he kind of looked like, oh yeah, how about this showcase instead? And I'm like, oh, I see what you're doing here.
Yeah.
You brought your collection with you, and you brought what's for sale. I'm like, all right, I get it.
On the flip side of what Mitch just said, there was like one of the dealers right like in the beginning when you get there, and we talked about him in the group. He had like some nice cards, some like PMG reds and greens and whatever. And he had a Sakic right in the middle, PMG from 2012, green. And I was like, oh, this is not a card that I like. I guess I do kind of covet it, but it's not something that I had thought about getting. But I'm like, oh, what's your asking on this? And he's like, not for sale. I'm like, oh, all right, man. I guess I'm not buying anything from your showcase. Because he's like, I brought my partial set just to like show off. I'm like, cool, man.
Yeah.
Peace. I don't know.
Yeah. I've seen a sticker.
I've
seen someone post a sticker. They have a few cards in the middle. They didn't have a price on it. It just said PC. I'm like, I mean, I guess that's great that you labeled it, but like,
cool, man.
Yeah.
See, like, I would put some crazy number on there before I wrote like PC.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, everything's for sale technically, right? Like
Yeah.
if someone came along, Mitch, and said, "I'll give you $2 million for that cup set," you'd be like, interesting number you got there. You know, you'd have to think about it. I mean, I know you probably would never want to get rid of it ever, but like there's always a price on everything. You never know. So that guy could walk in, Mitch, and be like, "I came here with $2 million as a suitcase. Like, I want that set." Like, all right.
Totally. Yeah. Anyone out there, if they want a complete 0506 Le Cup signature patch set for $2 million, it's yours.
Yeah, right now. I got a couple of things here. I like what Jeff said because it works two ways. Yes, we do need to do more roundtables, but at the same time, I think the rectangle tables are a barrier in essence, right? Like you have roundtables, and if you put them together, you're wasting a lot of space. But if you got people kind of walking around the table, you don't have the barrier on the other side of like, hey, this is my area. Like, stay over there, stay in your lane, you know. I get what he's saying, but at the same time, I think it would create, too many issues.
I got a tidbit. Don't listen to anything that Jeff Chase says.
Oh, is he like a troll or something?
No, he's just a buddy of mine.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, like, do I block him or what?
Right. No. He's good people.
All right. Ryan had a really interesting question here. He goes, I wonder how many dealers had cards pre-COVID spike, rode that wave, and are still turning a profit at the new ceiling, which is obviously lower. I mean, I guess I'll ask this to all you guys, just a minute each or whatever. Do you feel like these dealers at the expo are selling enough that, they're still turning profits, or do you think they're having to adjust and take some losses because, everybody was buying like crazy? Do you feel like there's profits being made still or no?
I think a little bit of both. Like, for example, I'll show this off after, but like this, for example, like this card, it's a soccer card. I know you guys don't really have much interest, but this is like a couple $100, like $200-300 card. Mm-hmm. This card, like when COVID, I guess it depends on the player too, but this was definitely like a $700, $800, $900 card literally like 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. So like, again, sellers always like, it's a negotiation tactic. They're like, oh, I don't know, I'm losing out on like on the price that you're offering. Like, I have too much into it. And a lot of times they might be lying, but sometimes they're telling the truth. And I think specifically like this card, I think the seller definitely just took a loss on it. Or like maybe broke even or definitely like took a loss. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's the way it goes, right?
Do you feel like, especially with all the cup stuff, do you feel like those people are losing money too, or do you think? I feel like the cup might be one of the few things that will always hold strong.
Yeah. So the cup has not really seen a dip, besides like the really high end like RPAs at 99. But if you look at like what limited logos sell for today versus like at the peak of COVID, it's about the same. Mm-hmm. And I think like the things that really fell the hardest are the things that were not scarce, that you could find every day, that shot up a ton. But the things that you can't find every day haven't really dropped because people that hold these cards have no interest in like selling them, because there's not like always comps for these cards, so you're not really losing the value there. And that's kind of a nice thing, and that's why I don't deal with cards that are so scarce, is because they're like, in one hand they're less volatile because you always know what the price is because they sell every day, but on the other hand you kind of control the market, because if you want the card, you take mine or you just never own the card.
Yeah, right.
You can be a lot more risk averse in that sense, where you never have to sell it for so much less than you bought it for. So I would say, from what I observe, the types of cup cards that I buy, there has not been any kind of drop. I think it's still very easy for dealers or anyone to profit off of cup cards if you can get them for cheap and then find someone that needs it. It's pretty easy.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. Kelvin, any thoughts you want to add to this? I mean, do you feel like being a dealer is still kind of profitable, or do you think it's it's a bit tougher nowadays?
No, it's definitely profitable because I mean they have their margins and there's like they have some room for error for most cards, but like I mean there's stuff that dipped a lot. Like I the PFGs dipped quite a bit.
Really?
It took they dipped quite a bit. Maybe not the greens. I think the greens
Yeah.
still have a little bit, but like some like the reds and the blues took quite a dip. And then Blur and Wah autos also took quite a dip too. People, I remember it was like one sold for like $1,000. It was like the enshrinements. I think it was like 0910. It sold for like $1,000 at one point, but that's like, but then now their duos go for like 300-400 now, just because they signed together so many times, right?
Yeah.
They have so many sets together, so like stuff like that, people probably do take a loss on those.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, it just seems like I don't know. Marc Andre's come down maybe 30% of where COVID prices were, but he's at a higher ceiling now than he was. I mean, 500 wins kind of solidified that, so it's okay. I'm seeing some of his cup cards go for under $100, so when I see that, that kind of makes me feel good. Like it's going to be affordable still because I don't have them all. There's still a few left. So let's talk about dealers specifically now. Let's start with the positives. We'll end with a session from Mitch here. Tell me an interaction you had with a dealer that one of those whole like you hear that phrase faith in humanity restored or whatever, but like talk to me about an interaction you had with a dealer that really like made you feel like yes, like I can't wait to come back and have another interaction with this guy or somebody like it. You know what I mean? Where you walked away feeling good.
I don't think I had like one glaring like, oh, this was like the best interaction I've ever had in my life, but I definitely like a couple sellers. Like I got a card for Tim. Like I got a nice 1-of-1 for his collection. I'm not gonna tell people what it is.
He'll throw it off next time he's on for sure.
Yeah, but that seller, like, he was really nice. Like, I kind of I stood at his booth looking through all his boxes, and I kind of like was pretty transparent with him. Like, hey, I'm interested in this car. This is for a buddy of mine. Like, and he kind of just like, I don't know. He just kind of like talked with me, waited with me while I was like sending Tim like messages and stuff. And he came down on his price, and I got it for way cheaper than sticker price. And then like I said, most dealers except for like the one that was offended by my offer, which he's kind of an idiot. But other than that, like I think I had positive interactions with pretty much everyone. Sports Cards Cartel, who's on YouTube on Instagram.
Yeah,
I had a great interaction with him. Like,
good.
Great guy. I saw him interact with like other customers, like some kids and stuff, and he just seemed like a genuinely like really nice dude.
Yep.
And then I met a lot of people like that were dealers from like from Instagram and stuff, like Jeremy and Meet and those guys. Like, yeah, they're all great. Like, I don't have really any negative experiences, unlike some people.
No, that's good to hear. And I like the one you said about like knowing that dealer, knowing you were helping your buddy get a card for his PC. I feel like if we all had a table, our group of guys, maybe if a guy comes up and he's got like no personality or essence or whoever, and he's like, "What do you want for this? We take 200." It's like, no, sorry. But if a conversation gets opened up and they're like, "Yeah, man, my buddy would love this card. This is his holy grail or whatever," and he's telling you all these stories about collecting and whatnot, you build up a connection, and it's like, all right, I'm willing to let this go for a little bit less. So just shows how important that is. Kelvin, how about you, dude? I mean, like, how are your interactions with the dealers this time around as opposed to, back in the end of May there?
I mean, I've never had a bad experience. All of them are really positive. I think the first table I went to was a good start to it. They're really friendly. I pulled a bunch of cards, some people I was looking out for, like, oh, hey, maybe they like it. They just commented on like a bunch of players. We had some small talk. So that was a good start. And then a table, I forget which one it was, but they're like, oh, hey, I remember you from the last couple expos. Like, oh yeah, I like coming to your table and stuff. And then had a small chat there. But yeah, always a positive experience, or just super transactional. Nothing negative at all.
Yeah, good. Now, Mitch, let's start with a positive. Tell me overall, like, did you have some pretty good, and like you said, people recognized you too, right? Did you get in any really cool conversations with some of the dealers there about knowing, obviously they would know you a little bit about your cup collection and whatnot?
Yeah, obviously, like, we're all laughing about this one negative experience I had, but I actually had a tremendous number of very positive interactions. So I'll call out a couple of them that I think are worth sharing. So Van Mash cards on Instagram was set up there. I bought 2 really nice cards off of him. He was just like a very, like, I don't know, like whimsical. I don't know if either of you guys met him, but he just was like very like funny, but he wasn't like joking. But I don't know how else to like describe it. But he would like show me. He's like, yeah, I just got this card, and he like show me some sick card, and
That's
then
cool.
like he gave me great deals on the 2 cards that I bought off of him. But he was just like a very pleasant guy to deal with. I agree with Alex. Sports Card Cartel was actually extremely pleasant. Like, for those that don't know him, he actually has like a very like edgy like online personality. So I was actually kind of surprised to see like how genuine and like cool of a guy he was in person. Like, I would totally have a beer with him. Um, I'll also give a shout out to Sam, who goes by Addicted to Cardboard on Instagram. He was a great guy to deal with. We ended up doing a trade. We actually went out for dinner on Saturday night with Jeremy and my dad. So just nothing but nice things to say about them. I mean, all like really like most of my interactions were either like neutral or very good, and there were a lot of people that just came up to me as kind of a cool experience. Like, people would just be like Grotman cards, and I'm like, that's me. So that was pretty cool.
No, they said Gropeman for sure.
Yeah, for
Well,
sure.
a lot of them did say Grotman.
Yeah, don't lie.
Well, before you get to your other story, I mean, I think it's so interesting. You kind of get this image of a person made up in your head, whoever it is, off Instagram, and based on the way they type and whatever, but you're not standing there hearing them say these things or talking to them. Then you meet them in person, you're like, wow, that person was way different. And I had that at the National too. You know, I met this guy and I'm like, he seems a little full of himself, but he's like the nicest guy. He's like, oh, your collection's so sick. Like, look at the, like, it was way different than I thought. So I think it's awesome that the expo gives us a chance to meet these people, hopefully both ways. But anyways, so you've got quite an interesting experience. Now I will say that I'm excited to hear it, because I saw clip notes of this, because I'm coaching and I would come in and there'd be like 50 messages. I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna get the gist. So set it up for us. Let's hear about it.
Yeah, so I walked by this guy's booth who I had seen. He posts a lot on Facebook, and he's a guy that will buy collections for like 60% comps, and then he's like, he does it in what I think is a very strange way. That he often posts pictures of himself like holding wads of cash. One time he posted a screenshot of his bank account with like 100 grand in his checking account, which is just ridiculous. So I knew he was like that kind of guy. And he said, "Hey, what's going on, man? How's it going?" I'm like, "Hey." He's like, "I'm the cash man." And I'm like, "All right, cool." And he like starts like telling me about his like how many collections he buys, and he's like pointing to his cards. He has like one showcase with like 10 Ovechkin future watches in it, and I'm like, okay. And then so I was like about to leave, and then he's like, "Hey, by the way, I'm looking for a Kaprizov high gloss Young Guns. If you ever see one, let me know." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And then I'm about to leave. He's like, "Yeah, I think it's like a $10,000 card, Canadian." And I'm like, well, I remember Zegras high gloss just sold for 10,000 American. So I just said, all I said was, "Oh, I think it might be a little more." And then his like whole demeanor changed. Like, he got like bright red in the face and his eyes glossed over. He looked like he just went into like this rage. And he said to me, like, "I think I know what I'm talking about. I have more money than you." He like pointed to his showcase. He said, "There's $500,000 in cards in here. I have that. You don't have that." And I was like, I was so shocked. Like, I've never experienced anything like that. So I was just like, what's going on right now? And then I was like, "You seem really upset. What's happening right now?" He's like, "I'm not upset." and I just like walked away. But I was like in like a fog for like 15, 20 minutes after that. And then I like told some people, I was like, yeah, I had this crazy interaction. And they're like, oh yeah, you shouldn't have tried to talk to him. Like everyone tries to fight him, everyone hates him. Apparently, like at a previous show, someone like grabbed him by his shirt and like pulled him over his table and tried to fight him. And then at the day after I had this experience with him, another guy on Instagram who I won't name tried to fight him apparently, and I had to break him up. But one of the craziest interactions I've ever had, like people were like coming up to me like, "Are you gonna fight this guy?" I'm like, I can't get like deported from Canada because of this guy. So.
Yeah, jeez.
For the record, you should have fought him.
Yeah, probably.
And got
it would have felt good, but
but would you have felt good afterwards? You'd probably be feeling all guilty that you made an idiot of yourself over him. Like, it's not worth it, worth it in the moment, but not worth it, not worth it.
Yeah,
not going to teach him anything. He's just going to do it again and again and again. But
so, that was just a one-off interaction. Like, I literally all I said was, "Oh, I think it might go for a little more than that." That was my whole that was the entirety of the comment, and he just couldn't.
Which would, and you would think somebody would go, "Wow, sweet. Well, if I can get one for 10, then I'm doing great." Like here.
Yeah. I asked like a buddy of mine after, like, just to make sure I wasn't crazy. I was like, if a Capri Sun High Gloss came up, like, what would you pay for a Canadian? He's like, probably like 12 to 15. I'm like, okay, so I was right.
Man, Kelvin, you met up with him after this interaction, right? Was he still a little like fired up when he told you the story, or was he?
Yeah. Mitch was fired up. He's like, man, I just had the crazy interaction that you told me all that.
I wish you would have been there for it, man. I would have loved to have like Kelvin over there eating popcorn as like the conversation's going down. Like that would have been great. I wish we all would have been there because I'm the type of guy that probably would have been like, I think I got to say something. Like you, Kelvin, would be like, no, don't say anything. Quiet. Just let it happen.
What we could do at the May Expo, we'll all go up to his booth and just see if we can break him.
Ask him the same question again, or tell him the same thing.
This is a good one right here. That's hilarious, Ryan. Thank you for that. Man, Ryan, can you please make sure you're there with us? Hop across the border. Just come for some security. I'll bring my dad with me. He's a retired cop. We'll be fine. Wow. Well, you know what though? I feel like, and this happened at the National too. I feel like that it's almost bound to happen, especially if you go for almost the entirety of a show. You're going to meet someone who, because cards and money turn people into, every now and then turn very few people into weirdos, crazy people. It's just going to happen. But it sounds like overall it was really positive, and that's one of my favorite things about going to shows, just talking to people, right? Talking to the dealers. And especially for me, I'm from Alaska, which probably nobody will care in Canada, but usually when you're down in Chicago, they're like, wow, really? Like, what are you doing here? It's like, well, I teach and blah, 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 and meeting fellow teachers, meeting fellow people who are similar to you. And all you got to do is start talking to them. So I can't wait to do that in May. That's going to be fun. Well, cool. Well, I'm glad you guys all had a good time. I mean, I obviously wish I could have been there, but it was awesome to hear about it now and the chat. So let's get to the cards, let's talk about that for a little bit. Try to keep it uniform here. So I know that, Mitch, you probably have more than 5. So get creative with your combinations of cards you're showing. We're just going to do a top 5 for everybody, and we'll just work our way up. So we'll start at 5. Everybody will show 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then, Mitch, you also have a non-pickup that I think it would be fun to show at the very end if you're cool with that, just because I don't know if you're wanting to, but that person might deserve a shout out for being loyal to their loyal, or not. But I think it was pretty cool that someone was sticking with the price they made, because sometimes things that are too good to be true, you're like, that's not going to happen. I'm getting a pile of cardboard shredded up in a box. Anyway, so let's go to your 5th best pickup at the expo. We're just going to go Kelvin, Mitch, Alex. We'll just kind of go in clockwise formation here. Make it easy. Let's start with you, Kelvin.
Okay.
You guys, everybody except Alex. Like Alex is like, I already got my top 5 in order.
I got my 5, baby.
I can go the other way if you want. That'd be easier. Want me to start with Alex?
I got it.
Okay.
So I'll go with this.
So nice.
13-14 Flair Showcase White Hot patch out of 18. I'm rarely a mem guy, but there's actually 2 big pickups for the mem PC, I guess. So I like Swan shiny, nice patch. Can't complain.
Nice. Beautiful. How about you, Mitch?
All right. So my 5th best.
Yeah, Mitch, only 5.
Only 5. No cheating.
So I have.
He's like, these 9 is my 5th best pickup.
I'm waiting for him to like hold it up like this.
So all right. So the way I did it was 2 of them I'm not going to show, and then I paired 2 other ones. So I have 5 here. So then my 5th best is this 15-16 Cup enshrinements out of 10. Triple autograph, Joe Sakic, Patrick Watt, and Ray Bork.
Jeez.
Beautiful.
And that's got like that layer. The enshrinements have that little layer of acetate on the top, right? That makes
it's an acetate on top. It's super good looking card. Very happy. That one I got from Van Mash Cards. So very happy he let me get that for what was it? In my opinion, a very low price.
Yeah.
very.
I remember the price on that, and I was just like, geez, I wish I was there for that. I might have bought it, like.
I thought he was messing with me when he told me how much it was. I had to like ask him like 3 times.
Without like making it known that you're like, this is cheap, man.
No, he knew it was cheap.
Cool. I love it. That's the thing. There's a lot of good sellers like that out there too. Alex, how about you, dude? Number 5?
I kind of already showed it, but it's my one non-hockey, probably the one non-hockey in this whole show.
Can you say who that is and why you bought it? Because I always enjoy knowing like the random sports we don't collect.
So this was difficult because at the expo, I had to say this guy's name, like in the in the Canadian or US version, or in Portuguese, his name is João Felix, and in English, he would be like João Felix, I guess.
Oh, okay.
So I would say like, oh, you guys have any Felix? Everyone's like, who are you talking about? Felix? Yes, okay. So it's just he's a Portuguese soccer player. He played for my home, like my parents' like club team, Benfica, in the Portuguese league. And so like perfect combination. He was like their star player a couple years ago, and he got bought by like a big club in Europe. But yeah, it's his blue chrome refractor. And I'm kind of with Mitch. We're like at 150. I'm with Mitch. We're like, if it's over 100, the print run's over 100, I probably won't chase it. But this is like literally the one exception, like star Portuguese player on like that club. So I kind of pick up like these when I see them for cheap. But yeah, that's my 5th.
Hard to go for the color match on that because the red's out of 5. That's not anywhere in your ballpark. You'd have to get rid of some nice Crosbys and stuff.
Oh man, the red for these, the reds, I think actually this year it's at a 10. But that card is definitely a 4-figure card, and it's out of my range. And the World Cup starts this Sunday, if you guys aren't aware. The first like fall World Cup I think ever. It's usually in the summer.
Pretty exciting stuff, man. It's gonna be cool to see how not good the U.S. is. They're not even in it, are they?
They are. I think they play Monday, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe something special will happen. Number 4, Kelvin, for you.
It would be the 0304 Bowman Chrome Gold.
So nice.
I picked this up in a trade and does complete the rainbow.
Oh.
Yeah.
Awesome, dude.
Such a nice card.
Yeah.
We were talking about the gold on there. Seems a little bit like more, I don't know, sharper or more pronounced than most gold refractors you see nowadays. Like the pristine, it's got that same pristine, real nice, bright gold on it.
Yeah.
That's a set that I gave up on. That's the first Brodeur I've seen from that set. I have like 45 cards from that set. It's such a nice looking card.
Yeah.
And it's the only year that hockey ever had Bowman Chrome.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Very, very nice. Mitch, numero 4.
All right, so I'm pairing 2 cards together.
No.
I knew it.
No, I'm kidding. Go for it.
All right, so they're both of some guy named Mr. Hockey. So the first one is this 0607 Black Diamond Gold out of 10. I just found this in a random showcase. I thought the price was really low, and the gold on this is like super nice. I just thought it was a beautiful card, and it's very scarce. And then the second one was my other card I picked up from Van Mash Cards. So I've actually picked up 4 cards from this subset, and it's one of my favorites ever from 07-08 the Cup. The All-Star Royalty out of 23.
Beautiful.
So it's numbered to how many All-Star games you played in. So Gordy has the highest print run because he played in so many All-Star games. But I just think that this subset's gorgeous. I also picked up Leach, Esposito, and Lidstrom from that set at the show. So very happy with those.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see you continue to put that set together. I like the where it says the cup, the little vines or whatever you want to call it. It looks so cool. Yeah, the crown or the cup or whatever trophy, whatever you want to say. That's just a beautifully designed set. Yep, very, very nice. Alex, how about you, bud?
This is a card that Mitch is very familiar with because he just acquired one last month or a month and a half ago. It is the Malkin 0607 signature patches out of 75. This was like kind of late in the because I went on Sunday as well, and the guy just we were just sitting in his showcase, and then it was almost at the end of the day. I asked him what he wanted for it, and he gave me, or no, he didn't give me a price. He's like, send me an offer, and I'm like, okay. And then I gave him an offer, and he's like, okay, kind of in that range, and I just picked it up.
Nice.
That easy. But awesome. Yeah, there's been a couple on PWCC, like since Mitch. Actually, there's been one since Mitch bought his, and I thought I got like a really good price on it, so I was happy with it.
Man.
Yeah, it took me overpaying tremendously for mine for all the other ones to come out.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mitch. Appreciate that. All right, so now we're at number 3.
Okay, number 3 is a patch card. It is from 1011 certified.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
So nice.
And then it's out of 10.
Awesome.
So this is when I came back to collecting, like hardcore collecting. I collected as a kid and I came back. Certified was the very first set I opened up, so I have a soft spot for these cards.
Yeah, that's a gorgeous one. That one looks amazing. Love all the detail on there, dude.
All right, so another pair. So one of the sets that I've been. I didn't realize it was 5 until
I sprung it on him. I'll admit, everybody, I sprung it on Mitch. Sorry.
So another one of the sets I've been grabbing cards of that I think is absolutely gorgeous is the 11-12 Dominion Peerless patches.
Oh.
And I found both of these separately. So if I didn't buy the first one, I might not have got the second one, but these guys have to go together. Crosby and Ovechkin.
Yeah, no biggie.
So the bottom one I actually picked up from not a dealer, but Cooch86 on Instagram was walking the floor and he had it, and I thought he had a very reasonable price for it. So I'm happy to add both of those.
Awesome.
I have like 11 or 12 now from that set, but those are the biggest. I guess Lindy maybe, but.
And that I will say too. I mean, Mitch, we talk a lot about card design, the two of us, more than most, I would say, because you're all about the old cut. But I think the 11-12 design is so much better than the 12-13 Peerless patches design. I mean,
I agree.
Far and away. Because it's smaller, first of all, and even though the player is a little bit bigger, like that design is perfect for the autograph. So,
yeah, it's so nice to me.
Beautiful.
It's the only year of Peerless that I try to grab.
All right. This is a very random card for my collection, but I have a very soft spot for 0506 because that's kind of like, I don't know, I was like 14 at the time, and that's like my favorite year for hockey cards.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a player I collect, but this is a Jay McClement Hot Prospects. I think these are called In Fuego, if I'm not mistaken. 1/1 shield.
Wow.
In my third shield in my collection. I didn't have any before this year. Now I have 3. But yeah, this set, like, I love this card. And I ain't giving it up.
Well, what about when the super collector of that player comes along? Then you got to figure something out, right? Yeah. Owning up, baby. Owning up.
Back to Brinks truck, baby.
Wouldn't it be cool though? I mean, you have to admit, because you know how committed some of us are to certain. I mean, you are as well, obviously, to Bargnani and that one hockey player that's probably gonna be in the Hall of Fame soon.
Yeah.
But you know, like guys like that come along and they've been like, dude, I've been looking for this card for 10 years. I grew up in the same town, or you know, something like that. And you're like, all right, well, we'll find a way to make it happen. But for now, you're gonna hold it safe. So that's good, or forever. You know, who knows if that guy will even come along.
Yeah.
All right, now we're
I doubt it.
Yeah, I doubt it. That'd be cool though. Top 2 now. So now we're at Dos, the second best pickup of the Expo, Calvin.
Okay. Well, I just posted about this one. This is from a cup card actually. 1011, the Cup Program of Excellence. Birder and Price out of 5.
So nice.
Jinx.
Yeah. Traded cash and a couple other Birder autos, and then traded up for that.
Very nice. I was telling Kelvin the only autograph that he no longer owns that I would have never given up of Marc-Andre was the Immortal Inks. If Fleury had one of those, that card would never go anywhere. But thankfully he does not. So I can't understand. I don't have to worry about it. But yeah, awesome. Great card, dude. All right. Now I don't know how you're going to already top the last 2 you just showed, but I can't wait to see how you're going to go from here.
So this is another pair. These are both honorable numbers.
Ooh, nice. Okay.
So one of them I picked up because it goes along with I bought a Patrick Waugh 33 out of 33 and a Mario Lemieux 66 out of 66. So I saw this card. I had seen the guy listed on eBay for a long time at a very high price. I was able to do a cash and trade deal with him. And this one's 10 out of 10 from 0809 the Cup, Guy Lafleur.
Oh, wow. I can't even believe that was even available. Like, I can't believe that was there, you know?
Yeah. This is like, to me, this is huge. So I'm happy to have 3 of the jersey number 1s from 0809. And then I think this is maybe even a bigger card. I could be wrong. This is from 0708, but it has part of the 1992 Stanley Cup patch of Mario Lemieux.
Christ.
That is incredible.
Getting focus. So the 2, you can see the 2 is from 1992. The year that the Penguins won the Cup. So I saw this. This is like the 3rd deal I did with this guy. But this is also a trade. I traded like 5 cards for this. So happy to get it.
Heck yeah. Dang, that's awesome, man. That patch is unbelievable.
All right. This one I saw it, and it was one of those deals where the guy had it in a showcase, and I'm like, what's the price? And there's a couple of dealers where you're like, where they said, oh, it's not my card, this is my buddy's card. Oh, so I'm like, okay. Yeah. So like he didn't have as much wiggle room as I wanted, but this is a Malkin 0607 honorable numbers out of 71. You can see like 3 color on that, and then that one's just white. Yeah, great card. I actually was in line to buy one last month, but the deal fell through because the card was damaged. So I kind of looked at like how much I was willing to spend on that deal. So I was happy to get it. I was happy to finally get one.
Can you hold that up again? And then Mitch, can you hold up the Lemieux? Because I'm trying to remember something from the design. Okay, so go. I want to look at Mitch's. Okay, so there's foil around this. Why does it seem like the foil around the number seems like so much more pronounced? You know what I mean? Like that was the first thing I noticed. You know,
I think it's just the way that silver shows up versus gold. It's like has more of a mirror effect.
Okay, I really like that about that card. I mean, that might be my favorite honorable numbers design, just based upon. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah, so like with 0506, it's also gold, but they put like a refractor gloss on it. So I just pulled this out of the box. Like I don't know if that looks shinier, but there's like a refractor gloss around the number. So it does look a little bit shinier than the 0708 one, which does not have that gloss over it.
Yeah. Okay.
So just an interesting little ad.
All right, we are at the top spot. Don't get look how excited Kelvin was frozen. It looked like he was like not excited at all. Like really,
like, yes.
number one. That was. Did you see it? That was really funny. All right.
So this was the main goal. Going Expo. I knew who had it. We made a trade. I sold some stuff, bought a bunch of nice Marties, and then I had some saved up. And then traded towards this card.
Yes.
The Golden Treasures 1 of 1.
Sick. So sick. Heck yeah, dude.
So I'm not done the rainbow yet. I'm missing like all the what is it called again? I always keep forgetting. Is it the rainbow? Like the refractor? Yeah, the rainbow, the color wheel. I don't even have the base card. I think so. I gotta work. I gotta work on those. You know, those are tough cards.
Comcy.
I was literally about to say that.
Yeah. Go to Comcy, get them all for cheap, because they were already on e-pack at that point. So awesome. That is great though, dude. I've always thought it would be great to own one of those. So sickness. All right. This is gonna be interesting because those. I mean, it's just been incredible already. So sorry you have to follow this, Alex.
Oh yeah, I was about to say I'm screwed now. Jeez.
Well, so I don't even know that this one's the most valuable card that I got. Maybe it is, but it's definitely the kind of card where I don't think I'll have the opportunity to get a card like this again. So just a little backstory. I found out before the expo that Jeremy Sports Cards Live had bought like a gigantic collection of Supreme cards from SB Game News.
Yeah.
And I'm not really I don't really collect those, but he had them like just laid out across his booth at the expo. So I'll go through these. Maybe there's something cool. And he had the one card that I just assumed there's no way it was in there. That I remember seeing once like 6 years ago, and I was like, if I could ever get that card, like that would be unbelievable.
Yeah.
It was a guy. So for those that don't know, I watched every single Stanley Cup Finals game ever that's been recorded. So this is a guy who's been in a ton of them, and he like when he retired, he was the league leader in wins and shutouts, and he was basically like the consensus greatest goalie ever before we had like Hasek and Law and Berger.
Fleury.
And Fleury.
It's okay, whatever. Keep going.
But so he died like well before like autograph cards came out, so he doesn't really have any autos, and he has very few memorabilia. ITG has a little bit, but Upper Deck just has this card, one property of, and then a few piece of history, like very tiny stick cards. So I pulled this card and I was like, whatever he tells me the price is, I'm just gonna say okay. And it was well below what I was willing to pay. So I'll just show it. It's Terry Sawchuk.
Jeez.
Look, I mean, it says like Michigan basically. I don't know what the word is after Tool. The word before Michigan is definitely Detroit, but so it's 5 out of 5. One of the only licensed Sawchuk memorabilia cards ever made. As far as I know, there's only 3 of them, and this is the best one besides the property of. So I've always loved Terry Sawchuk. If I was ever going to get one vintage card, it would be a Terry Sawchuk rookie card. So he just one of the greatest ever. I mean, you could even still make a case that he is in that conversation for greatest goalie ever, because he was really so far ahead of his peers. He won cups for the Wings and the Leafs. He was the starting goalie the last time the Leafs won the cup in '67. So just
been a hot minute.
Yeah, just an amazing card for me. It's one that like I just even if you offered me like 10 times what I paid for it, I still would keep it because it's such an incredible card to me. So I was very happy that Jeremy sold it to me. I found out like 3 other people were like coming back to buy it, and like one guy got mad that I bought it, but it's not going anywhere.
All right.
So definitely for me, the biggest card I got.
Awesome. That's just like legit, like piece of history type deal there. You know, we all love our patch cards and stick cards, but that, you know, especially after watching the movie they did on him, you know, I learned a lot about him that I didn't already know, which it surprised me to say the least. But it definitely made me appreciate the era that he played in and just how difficult his life was to even be in hockey, let alone be one of the greatest. So very cool. Well, sorry you got to follow that up, Alex.
I'm just gonna log off.
Yeah. All right, see y'all later. Logan doesn't even get a chance to say anything. Like we're done. Like after that. But what was your best pickup from the expo?
So this is that car that I kind of mentioned earlier, where I saw it and I looked at the sticker price and I was like, well, that's a little cheaper than I thought.
Yeah.
And then I ended up working with the seller, and the seller was actually Frankie Fives, Frankie Five, if you're familiar with him.
I don't know.
He's on Hobby Insider and he's on eBay and stuff. Honestly, like really nice guy. He had he just bought a Gretzky collection, so he had like 6 or 7 showcases full of Gretzky.
All that table. Okay.
Yeah, just I was like, what the? So he had this card, which I had never really kind of seen before. So
wow.
0506 Ultimate Collection triple jersey. You can see, and it's Gretzky, Lemieux, and Crosby out of 25. It's number third. Jesus, I can't see. 18 of 25, and you know, usually in a player's rookie year, their jerseys are from like photo shoots. This is actually a game worn Crosby jersey. But yeah, I've seen like a bunch of the duels, and I think there's like a Ovechkin Crosby duel. I think there's a Gretzky Crosby duel. But this is the first time I had seen the triple. I think that I checked. There's a couple on eBay with like really high bins.
Right. It's sitting there for like 4 years. Yeah.
Right. Like they're all sitting there for like 3-4 times what I paid for this. Awesome. And yeah, I saw it. It was just one of those cards. Again, I never really like seen it, thought about this card ever in my life, and then I saw it and I was like, yeah, I have to make a deal for this card.
Well, and I feel like with all the basketball Bargnani stuff you have, and how Ultimate really hooked him up with a lot of his stuff through his career, you've got to have a little bit of, you know, sway toward Ultimate when you see it of other players. Yeah, exactly.
And I did the research later, and I mentioned to you guys in the chat. So I figured there's like a patch version out of 10 or whatever. Yeah. Mitch actually said they're out of 5. There is no patch version for this card. So this is the only triple of these 3 in Crosby's rookie year. So I found like of any set.
That's
so I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, and that was, again, I did that research after, but it's kind of cool to kind of, you know, just add an extra like little tidbit to a card that you bought.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I really like that card.
That's awesome, man. Well, what a great recap of all the cards. Logan, you got here just in time, bro. Like we were showing, everybody was showing their top cards. Logan, I'm going to put you on blast. We haven't had Logan on here in like at least a few months, even coaching and class and this other stuff. Can you give us a bit of an update? How's the collection going, and what are you up to now?
The collection has been, I've been just trying to find steals, really, and just trying to not buy it now cards. Yeah. And just wait for the bids. So, and it was nice to take a little break, but I mean, the last card I bought was this from DC Sports. Just have it. It's a Patrick Waugh premiere date. Ooh. Numbered out of 83. So I just I was looking at some stuff on ComC, and I didn't really see anything Waugh on there. And I was like, I haven't bought a Waugh in a while. So it's like, might as well. Because I ended up, I don't know. I really like, they had that Spectrum Brodeur on SPX. I don't know if you saw that one. They had it for like $22. SPX Spectrum.
Oh no, Kelvin!
How did I miss that?
Okay. Right. It's like numbered out of 300. I'll show you later.
Yeah.
I am kind of curious because, you know, first of all, would you say the Blackhawks have exceeded expectations at this point in the year?
So my Blackhawks talk is very minimal, because currently I live in Fargo and my internet is done something that the Chicago games are all blacked out here.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I'm sitting here watching the Leafs, Pittsburgh, all these other teams that aren't the Blackhawks or the Bears. So yeah, that's what I'm going through right now. And I've tried to reset my internet, tried to log out of everything. Yeah, nothing's happening.
All right. Well, I've got a fix for that, but we'll do that off camera. Secondly, how's the Kane market? Because you're kind of our pulse on one of the greatest U.S.-born players who sadly hasn't been winning a lot lately. Do you feel like things are settling down to earth, or is it still holding steady?
I've noticed a lot more stuff coming up on ComC, and I feel like his stuff has dropped a little bit. And the other day I looked at how many points he's got. I was like, I think it was like 10, maybe 11 now after the other night. So it really hasn't done nothing too much. I think if there would be a trade, then we might see a little bit of a bump. But
right.
I don't know. There's still a few that I've been looking for. Like that's it. That Ultimate Collection. It came out. I think it was an update. There's one on ComC for 150. It's like what is it? Not the silhouette, but I don't know, something like that. Neat looking card, number to 25.
Okay.
Actually, it's a really nice looking Ultimate Collection card. So
yeah, I feel like I can level with Logan because our players are. I mean, maybe not Kane as much, kind of in the twilight of their careers. I feel like there's a nice little drop in prices, and then once they retire and start heading toward the Hall of Fame, then you're going to see a spike there. So it's like one of the better times to try to get in and grab some stuff. So, I'm not complaining either. I'm sure you're not when it comes to this prices being lower. But, well, sorry you got here a bit later.
No worries.
Our post-show stuff is always just as entertaining. It's too bad we can't broadcast that, or it's a good thing we don't broadcast that. Probably
we could.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But yeah, it was fun hearing from you guys as far as the expo goes. I mean, it's got me excited to meet up with you all in May, at the end of May, after school gets out. It's going to be so exciting just to not only hang out with all you guys, but be in a hockey card, mainly hockey card show, as opposed to not the expo, but the national, which is going to be later in the summer, and it's going to be mostly baseball, football, basketball. So yeah, looking forward to that, and obviously great additions to all your collections. That was really exciting to see Alex's variety, Kelvin pull off a crazy trade and pick up some other stuff, and then Mitch find all those cup cards. I mean, that's always cool to see. Because some of those, like the Guy Lafleur, I can't even believe that was there, let alone the Sawchuk. Like some of that stuff just blows my mind. But yeah, and then obviously dealing with a lot of awesome dealers, especially the one that Mitch got to have a fun interaction with. So that was the highlight of the show, right, Mitch?
Yeah.
Logan, are you considering trying to get to the one at the end of May? Are you going to be out of school by then?
Where's that at? I haven't even heard of anything. Where's that at?
In Canada, in Toronto.
In Toronto, the expo.
Oh,
yes.
Over. So yeah, I don't even. I mean, maybe they accept my birth certificate at the border. I don't have a passport or anything like that.
I got my passport 2 days before the show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, right. I will say that I'm planning on meeting Kelvin on the other side of the border in Detroit. I was thinking of flying into Detroit, and he could bring us across, smuggle us across, and get us. So hopefully we can make that work. But thanks to everybody, Jeff and Ryan and Al. Al was here for the whole show, hanging out. And yeah, we look forward to the next one. We have a couple of shows planned. We definitely are going to end the year with our top pickups of the year, probably top 10 style, and it'll be a full showcase show. So Logan, great to have you for that. Show off some of these cards. It'll be super hard to decide, I'm sure. But yeah, anyways, other than that, we'll see you hopefully next week now that after this weekend, coaching is done for me. So I'll be a lot freer. Logan knows how that is when coaching a sport is done. You got a lot more free time in the evening, which is nice. So yeah, nice seeing everybody, and we'll see you next week. Have a good night, everybody.
Take care.